This is Mrs. Coach Stokes, lifestyle coach and creator and organizer for the Time Is Now 30-Day Workshop. I was inspired to create this workshop because of my personal experiences, my knowledge and education, and my personal journey of activating my superpower of self-love and self-care. As women, we tend to neglect our emotional, physical, and spiritual needs for those we love most. Or we neglect ourselves because we were never taught how to truly love the essence of who we are. Or we were taught that materialistic achievements are needed to validate loving who we are. And if we can't achieve those things, we are not worth loving. The time is now to start a new journey of self-discovery and love. I am an example and support to women all over the world to love thyself and go create your extraordinary life. As we move forward in this very exciting 30-day journey, I want to introduce you to the most powerful law in our majestic and divine universe. Before you X out of the video or make up in your mind that there is only one way to understand the majesty of our Creator, take a few moments to listen to the information that changed the way I looked at and interpreted the world before me. My faith and my relationship with God is stronger than ever, and I am more at peace than ever. The law I am talking about is the law of attraction. The crazy thing is that there are a lot of people that never heard of this law, let alone know that it exists. This law is parallel to many regularly quoted scripture, surah, or testament. There is nothing stopping you from living a life you will be proud of, an extraordinary life through this law. Once you receive and begin to understand these simple principles, your life will never be the same. Your faith and beliefs will be unmovable and uncompromisable. Your relationship with your Creator will be stronger than ever, and your perception of what life is will change in the most magnificent way possible. You will begin to understand why things are happening in your life. The law of attraction states that you will attract what you think, speak, and believe most often. It is always activated and it is always in effect. Whatever things you speak, think, and believe will be attracted back into your life. Doesn't this sound familiar? Maybe like the law of reaping and sowing. You will reap what you sow. Whatever we speak, think, feel, and believe will be attracted back into our life. The mental movies we play in our minds continuously, whether good or bad, will become the script and physical manifestations in which we live our lives. The God source is not concerned with how you are doing. Our faith is not predicated on how we are doing. That source is simply responding to the energy that you are putting into the universe. You can be the nicest person in the world, the most faithful person in the world, but if you have a deep belief in lack and poverty, you will continue to attract lack and poverty. If you have a deep belief that you're not worthy of being loved, you will continue to attract people that do not love you, situations that do not love you. If you have a deep belief that you don't deserve the very best in life or that life has to offer, you will continue to attract people that do not give you their best and treat you as though you are not worth their best. My personal story, as a young woman, I always felt like life was working against me. I couldn't understand how I could help inspire someone to accomplish great things, live in their greatness, but it seemed like I was sinking in quicksand. I had so many filters before there were even filters available. I had so many masks before you could put masks on your pictures. I hated taking pictures. I couldn't fathom how I could be in church 3 out of 5 days a week, give my time and gifts to the ministry, but still feel incomplete, feel sad, hurt, broken, and like my life was never going to change. I was never going to be able to live my dream. I was always going to be stuck in lack and poverty. Oh, I could cut a rug and shout like none other when I felt it. But as soon as I left the church doors, no matter how great the message was, no matter how enthusiastic the preaching was, my old emotions would resurface before I even started my car. I struggled with this for years. I knew that there was a God, a higher source, and I knew that miracles were still being manifested. So I blamed the religion and converted to Islam with my husband. I felt like it was the Christian religion and the religious folks that failed me. And honestly, I felt so betrayed I could never see myself sitting in another pew or claiming Christianity as a religion I could be proud of. I was hurt too deep and too often by people who claimed to have a personal relationship with God through Christianity. And I trusted them, but yet they hurt me. Being hurt and feeling betrayed were feelings that I would run from because I experienced them way too often in my childhood. As an adult, my idea of being an adult and being Christian was finding happiness and joy and peace and living the life I wanted to live and living it for God. Because of my disappointments in the church and among God's people, I ran in a completely different direction, only to find out that in that other religion, I was also betrayed by people who say that they love God and they live for God. By this point, I really felt like life was working against me. I couldn't understand how God would allow these people to cross my path when all I wanted to do was heal and live by the power of faith as a great woman, wife, and mother. So what changed? As I got older, I got wiser, I experienced more, and I understood that people are people, and people are going to disappoint you, but that has nothing to do with the power of God and the authority of God. As I lived my very unfulfilling life and reflected on my Anthony Robbins Unleash the Power Within 4-day conference experience in San Jose, California, I started to remember the power I possessed and listened to as much audio and as many life-giving books that I could find, never leaving out God as my source. But I started to look for answers. I was exposed to a lot of different authors and must-read books that I'll share later on in our journey. Once I started and completed the Ultimate Edge program, every chance I got, I listened and listened and listened. I got tired of being broken personally, physically, financially, spiritually, down to my soul. I was exhausted and started to search for answers. I just needed answers. There's more to this than just existing. By this time, I was ready to receive those answers and evaluate their weight in my life. I was tired of living a mediocre life of survival. This is when the law of attraction was better understood. I had to realize that I was the reason I was living a mundane, mediocre life. I was the reason I was attracting not so much love. When I finally began to change my spoken words, my thinking, my beliefs, my life started to change like nothing I have ever experienced. My life started working for me and not against me, or at least I changed the way that I perceived life. When I changed my words, my life was turned right side up. The law of attraction is like a mirror. That's the easiest way to explain it. It reflects the image you give it. If all you do is complain about what you don't have, why this person got it first, why you're so fat, why your marriage isn't working, why you're always in the negative, that is what is going to continue to show up in your life. The energy that you give off is what will be returned. And that is the most valuable lesson I have ever learned. Somehow in my adult life, I adopted the belief that we are victims of life. But during my search for understanding and my journey of discovering myself, I understood that life is working for me. It's not happening to me. And that I have the divine power to create the extraordinary life I desired and deserved. In a matter of months, I went from hating the reflection in the mirror to loving the essence of that same reflection. I went from feeling stressed about finding a job so that I could be a positive contribution to my husband and help ends meet, to creating jobs for other people and starting our own business where we could be generous with charitable work. I went from stressing about my child's education to having the freedom to homeschool all of my kids. We went from struggling financially to having amazing stability, being able to meet our basic needs and do a little extra along the way. I even lost 145 pounds. My goals used to be to get back to who I was in high school, but guess what? I was not my best in high school. Today, I am my best self, and my husband and kids get the Lanisha that no one else has ever received. I am doing what I love. I am raising my children. I am building with my husband, and I am manifesting all that I desire to experience in abundance. I've learned that my only job is to speak out what I want and trust the process no matter how long it may take. I've learned I have to trust God's word and his plan. I have to believe and walk in the fact that I am connected to the source. I am one with the source, and there is no religion, there is no bad experience that could ever stop me from believing that the favor of God rests on me and my family. You think the thoughts, speak the words, and God, the universe, however you believe, will orchestrate your desires according to divine timing. Rhonda Byrne states, life is not happening to you, it's responding to you. Life will always follow your lead. So we must remember that we are co-creating our reality with God or the universe. We have the ability to consciously create all that we want. We may not understand it all, but it will be revealed at the perfect time. As we move through our divine and abundant life, our only job is to know what we want, feel that it is already ours, and take inspired action. Doesn't that kind of sound like faith? Don't worry about the hows, just trust the process. So now how do we understand and master this law of attraction? The first step to mastery of the law of attraction is acceptance and responsibility. I had to take responsibility and accept the fact that the life I was living, all of it, was something I created. I may not have created the event, but I absolutely created the emotions and the beliefs that kept that event living in my present day. You must accept that somehow, on some level, you created the situation up to this point. Again, not the event, but how you're feeling. And from there, you have to accept responsibility for what you receive in your life. Your belief system, the way that you speak to yourself and what you think, all of that positions you to accept and be responsible for certain things in your life. Were you practicing your faith? Did you trust divine order? Or were you in fear and spoke out of fear, therefore attracting that same fear back into your life? Gail Nightingale said, "We are all self-made, but only the successful will admit it." Basically saying, once we take responsibility for what is going on in our life, then we can be successful because we can learn and we can grow from it. You don't have to understand everything now because in due time it will be revealed. Step 2, you must change your focus. What we focus on, we create in the physical world. The law of reaping and sowing, remember? We attract things according to where we place our focus. If you focus on lack, you're going to experience lack. If you focus on abundance, you will experience abundance. You can make things real by training your focus. You keep refocusing your thoughts on the things you want. It takes practice. It takes discipline. Stay focused on the positive. When you start speaking and thinking negative, catch yourself and pull back from the negative energy. Intentionally replace that negative energy with something positive. Use your faith. Step 3, think about what you want often. Visualize it every day as often as possible. Talk about it often with confidence and a surety that it is already done. It is yours. Feel as though it's yours and nothing on this earth can stop the manifestation of your desires into your physical reality. You are unstoppable. You are powerful. You are love. You are abundance. You are excellent health. You are prosperity. This is Mrs. Coach Stokes, and welcome to the Time Is Now 30-Day Workshop. Today is the first day of a new chapter of your extraordinary life.